welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Pauper. This is in preparation for MagicCon Chicago, where I will be playing in the Pauper Format Cup. I'm a little out of touch with Pauper. It's been a few years since I played it competitively, and I'm just getting myself reapprised of all of the counterspell decks I could play, because I like those a lot. The top counterspell deck in the metagame is this Mono-Blue Faeries deck. There's also Mono-Blue Terror, there's Dimir Terror, there's various Is-It builds with like Monarch and stuff. I actually recorded Dimir Terror first, but I'm going to release this one before I do that, because Essence Flux is a card that was just downshifted to common in Innistrad Remastered earlier this week at the time of recording. I'm recording this on a Sunday. Innistrad Remastered came online during the downtime this past Wednesday, so you're seeing it like a week later, but Essence Flux is a new card to Pauper. We've had Ephemerate for a few years now. There have been archetypes built around it, but a mono-blue deck has never had a tool like this, and we are a deck that is built on ETB abilities. Spellstutter Sprite being the core here. This is kind of the reason for the season. A hard counter, or soft counter that gets harder as the game goes on. And then you could pick up Spellstutter Sprite with Moon Circuit Hacker or Ninja of the Deep Hours, and then these become card selection or card draw engines, and your opponent knows you're holding a counter spell because you just picked it up. And Essence Flux is a cool way to counter a removal spell by just flickering the creature it's targeting, or counter something else by flickering Spellstutter Sprite. You could draw a card with Fairy Miscreant. You could Trinket Attacker with Brinebarrow Intruder. Stun another thing with Snaremaster Sprite. This is pretty cool. This shell has also, since the last time I was heavily invested in Pauper, adopted Of One Mind. If you have a human and a non-human, this is 1 mana draw 2. That's extremely powerful. The ninjas were humans anyway. The fairies are not humans. You were playing those anyway. Brinebarrow Intruder is kind of the gap here. This card seems pretty anemic to me, honestly. Like, we do have to survive damage from the red decks and stuff, so it's not without ability, but if this wasn't a 1 mana human, I don't know if the deck would play it, but it is, and turning on Of One Mind is very powerful. This is a pretty classic tempo control deck. We are just going to put some shitty little 1/1s in play, chip for damage, counter spells, clear attackers, hopefully stick a draw engine, and then chip for damage down to till the opponent's at 0. This is the purest version of this that I've tried in a long time. Just 18 basic islands in this deck for mana. You love to see it. No Terramorphic Expanse, no Lorien Revealed, no Ash Barrens, no dual lands. I do think Snuff Out and Lightning Bolt and Scred are really powerful cards. You lose out on the sweepers that red and black offer as well versus the go wide decks, but hopefully we don't need them. I'm going to try this Mono-Blue Faeries featuring the new to Pauper Essence Flux. I'm on the draw in round 1 with a 1-lander that has me pretty concerned. This deck does not have Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, the normal cantrips to help smooth out your mana base. Basically, I would have to draw Brinebarrow Intruder to turn on Of One Mind, Fairy Miscreant to cantrip, or an island. That's 17, 20, 24 draws that I would be reasonably content with, and the Brinebarrow thing's not even good. So there's like 20 draws I'd be reasonably content with. I think I'm gonna mulligan this. Sad to see it go. Okay, here we go. This is exactly what I want out of this deck. I think I'm gonna bottom the Snaremaster Sprite. I just have so many cards represented between the 2 Miscreants and the 2 Hackers. Hopefully I'll find a removal spell if that's what I need. But the Snaremaster doesn't do anything till I have 3 mana anyway. A Forest on a mull to 5. Okay, just pass the turn, I like that. Of One Mind works with Fairy and Moon Circuit Hacker. The engine's online here. If my opponent is just the Broodscale Glee combo and Goldfish is on turn 3, then I'm dead. Okay, Cyclic Troll of Khazad-dûm. I don't think Troll is in the Gleezard deck. That's one of my favorite deck names in a while, by the way. Gleezard. Gleezard. For the Basking Rootwalla Lizard combo. And that is a Golgari deck, but I don't know that Troll's in it. Oh, okay, this is definitely that deck. Never mind. Or, no, there's like Dredge and Reanimator style decks. They could get a Troll or a Satyr here. They took the Satyr. Okay, the sequencing here. Look at this Miscreant. I'm going to play Miscreant, draw a card, and then I'm going to attack, flip this Miscreant into a Ninja. The Ninja just hits harder, and this Miscreant's a cantrip on the way back down. This turns on Of One Mind. I'm looking for a snap or a counter spell before I completely run out of juice here, or they go over the top of me somehow. They are doing a lot with their 5 cards. The Spellstutter Sprite can counter 2 drops, could be 3 drops. Okay, this is the Dredge Reanimator deck, not Gleesard combo. They found a forest off of that Wayfinder. There it is. Rebel Belt Maverick, Surveil 2, exile this from your graveyard, put +1 counter as a sorcery. Okay. That's just another like graveyard enabler shitter. Is this a hybrid deck? Because putting a +1 counter on the Brood Scale is a pretty big deal. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, and this is why I need to practice. Just being dialed in on exactly what every deck's capable of is really important when you're a blue deck in Pauper. Okay. I can Of One Mind. And this Moon Circuit Hacker is like not even good. It trades with this Rubble Belt Maverick. I'm gonna Of One Mind first. And I'm probably gonna pump the brakes here a little bit and just attack with Miscreant. Yeah, leaving the Hacker in play for future Of One Minds is a reason not to just trade it off for whatever they'll give me. I'm gonna pass with Spellstutter up. I could have put in another Moon Circuit, but now I'm just worried about like Exhume or I still haven't entirely ruled out Brood Scale. I don't know. Conduit Pylons, Surveil 1 when it enters, and then it's a crappy multicolor land after that. There is a Scrapwork Mutt and a Stinkweed Imp in the graveyard as far as relevant cards. Dread Return, uh-oh. Maybe I should be just trading off with the third creature if I can. They are unearthing the Mutt, not something I can interact with. Discarded Lotleth Giant from hand. That is the card I'm worried about here. Yeah, the difference between Counterspell and Spellstutter Sprite here is enormous. 1 damage for each creature in your graveyard. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's not bad. I think I actually do want to block here. I'll block the Mutt and save damage. Because the Mutt is just like a free spell, or a free card to sack to Lotleth Giant, or sack to Dread Return. Okay, they're playing around Counterspell. That's fine. I'm going to end step one of these Spellstutters just to start building my fairy count and pushing extra damage. I'm not going to Moon Circuit hack this turn. I'm going to attack with these 2 and then play 2 Miscreants, or 1 Miscreant, see what the board looks like. Or see what my hand looks like. Miscreant, draw a card, Infiltrator, Miscreant, draw a card. Now I can counter Dread Return if I need to. The Brine Barrow Intruder's here to turn on Of One Mind. And I'm winning the damage race, which is the important part. Stinkweed Imp. Okay, Brine Barrow Intruder can hang with that. Or Snaremaster Sprite. That is a mighty 1/2 creature versus my wall of 1/1s though. I think getting the Brine Barrow in to turn on Of One Mind is the best thing I can do here. Though I can attack pretty much with impunity. All right, never mind. I'm going to go to my turn. That island is nice. Just going to attack with everything. They'll probably block Spellstutter. Okay, I will intrude here so my Spellstutter doesn't die. I don't win the combat. We just touch butts. -2 that thing. And I also want to ninjutsu this hacker, picking up a Miscreant. That's another multiple cards. Of One Mind. That's a lot of One Minds. I think the damage matters a lot here. So I'm going to play Miscreant over Of One Mind. Ooh, get fluxed. There's that one. There are 2 Dread Returns in their graveyard, but they would need 6 creatures to cast them both. I've drawn so many cards this game. This engine is insanely powerful. I've drawn so many cards that I have 2 Of One Minds in my hand, 2 1-mana draw 2s that I decline to cast this turn. Not to the bone. So this will gain 16 life. I mean, that's rough. It flashes back for 3. If I counter this, this does let them get Lotleth Giant into play. but I don't think I care. I just take a chunk of damage. All right, this is fine. I'm not going to beat this opponent who gains 16 life, or I might, but it's going to take a lot more work than I want to do. Okay, they're casting Exhume. Do I lose to this? I might. Oh no, did I punt? If they Exhume the Lotless Giant, if there are 10 creatures in their graveyard, I think they just win here. The Generous Ent also is just a giant monster with reach. This is a mindset I have to get back in. Okay, they just went with Generous Ent. That's a bit of a relief. At least I'm not combo dead here. But this is a mindset I have to get back in where when I was hyper dialed in on Pauper, I would just be like, okay, I have to do another 30 damage. And I wouldn't have even thought about countering that, because what if I die to some other shit? And I have found myself getting looser in my old age about that. Okay, Snaremaster Sprite. You're going to snare this Generous Ent. Go to sleep. And I think I just send the squad here. Gotta get this game won. I have another intruder, and this is where Essence Flux, representing a hard counter for 1 mana, is Busto. Okay, they're blocking a 2-power creature anyway. That's fine. We'll just let that happen. Okay, I can loot Spell Pierce and Flux. All right, I don't need this Fairy Seer anymore. And I think I'm just going to hold up Flux plus Spell Pierce. I have 6 fairies. 2 Lotless Giants just hit the graveyard. And a 3rd Dread Return. Yeah, the awkward thing about Essence Flux versus just holding Counterspell here is that now a removal spell counters my counterspell. I don't know what removal spell they're going to have, but it's true. There is a Scrapwork Mutt in the graveyard if they unearth it using this filtered mana. Okay. This is an insane Spell Pierce target. Okay, cool. Feel like I left the shields down for a moment there, but didn't get completely punished. This list I just copied off the internet has basically no plan for what's going on. There's no Relic of Progenitus or anything to challenge the graveyard. I just have to beat them by doing what I did game 1. Binding a monster could knock a Generous Ent out of the game for good. That might be important to do. And I'll think about binding monsters. Like Spell Pierce is good, Snap's good. They have a lot of X1 creatures on the ground, which doesn't mean Moon Circuit Hacker's bad. It is part of my human package. It does convert damage and cards. If it's picking up Miscreant or Spellstutter, it's getting card advantage just for ninjutsuing in addition to whatever happens when it deals combat damage. But it's not much of a magic card once it's in play versus their wall of ground blockers. Ninja the Deep Hours being 2/2, actually huge, like literally enormous versus 2/1 versus their board of 1/1s that we saw. And Brinebarrow Intruder, while it did have a moment there, actually I think Brinebarrow is worse than Hacker. I'm gonna cut some humans here for some binds and hope that if they like exhume a turn 2 Generous and I'm not just dead. Okay, a little reactive here, but I will take it. This is completely the opposite of the hand I had game 1, which was just full aggression, drawing multiple cards a turn for the entire game. They went to 5 again. A Forest. Spells Pierce does get Exhume on turn 2 if they cycle Lord of the Rings card here and then cast Exhume. There's half the combo. Geothermal Bog. Okay. Oh, but playing Swamp. Wayfinder. Can't counter that one. They found a Forest and milled 3 relevant graveyard cards. That was the perfect Wayfinder. Nothing wasted. Ooh, Hacker. Okay. Now a plan is starting to form. I'm going to play out a Spellstutter Sprite here, even if they don't play a 1-drop. I'll just end step it, turn it into a Hacker, start doing stuff. They milled a Gnaw to the Bone. We got to know about that. Prowler. You mill 3 cards, put a land card, mill this way into your hand if you don't put a +1 counter on this. So they can have a Forest or a +1 counter. They want the Forest. Well, there's actually 2 forests in their hand right now. Don't be fooled. Okay. End step, Spellstutter. Island. Attack. Make sure this doesn't have reach. It does not. Hacker's in. I'm up to 7 cards in my hand. And they know I have Spellstutter. They can exhume around a Spell Pierce at this point if they choose to play around it. They have seen Spell Pierce in the deck. It would be messy not to. Okay, there's a Forest. Still not the forest we saw earlier. The Mutt. Discarded Stinkweed Imp. Dredge. Ancient Grudge. Okay. It's cool that they boarded in stuff like that because I don't actually have any hate for their deck. And by cool, I mean sad. I take 3 damage here. I'm not trading anything for this shit. I'm going to let Scrapwork Mutt get exiled. Then play Spellstutter. I could snap this Wayfinder to keep the cards flowing. Or I could chill. I have cards I don't need here. Actually, it's a little messy and aggressive here, but I think I need to check some boxes and get cards flowing. I'll untap my 2 islands. Attack. Another thing that this play does is it shows them I am willing to snap aggressively. Because they didn't have to attack with this Blanchwood Prowler. And if I can, in the future, buy a life point here or there because they're afraid of me taking an aggressive tempo line, then I'm in. Miscreant and Intruder, these cards are both shit. Bottom. I'm looking for hard counters and card advantage, and that was neither of those things. I can Spellstutter for 3 plus Spell Pierce this turn. Do I want to counter this Wayfinder? I don't think so. Yeah, they see 2 forests. Malevolent Rumble. This looks like a good place for a Spell Pierce, actually. They have so many lands that this isn't going to hit a lot of targets in the near future. And they did not attack because they're worried about the chip shot thing that I just showed them I'm capable of. This is where they clench their cheeks that I don't have another ninja. And they're in luck. I actually don't. Do I want to trade Moon Circuit Hacker? No. Drawing this Miscreant kind of stinks because I just put 1 to the bottom of my deck. So I'm drawing to a twofer that could do this. But that is the 4th fairy that counters Dread Return with Spellstutter. I do have to stay aware of this Knot of the Bone with 13 creatures in the graveyard. And without Tolarian Terror or similar in the deck, gaining 26 life, I might actually deck myself before I can do that much damage. Okay, they milled a Dread Return off this Scrapwork plus Dredge. I can counter that. There's a second Knot of the Bone there, which means I probably can't afford to fight over any Knot of the Bones if they have multiples. Because countering 1 doesn't matter if they resolve a second. Oh, this is so dangerous. That resolves. I'm going to play my patience game. Hopefully they read this as I can't counter a spell and just fire Dread Return. There's the forest, finally, that we saw on turn 1. The Mutt has to fight. Well, it doesn't have to, but it wouldn't make sense not to. I'm at 14. Please cast Dread Return. We're going to find out how reasonable it is to beat an opponent at 70 life this game. I have 46 cards left in my deck. Dread Return targeting a Lotleth. Spellstutter. If they have a green card that makes me sack a flying creature, that would be really bad. Like Gut Shot would get me real good here. Okay. Oh, that was a 4 for 1. 5 for 1. We like those. They sacked 3 creatures and lost their Dread Return, and I'm up a 1-1. And I get this massive swing. Moon Circuit Hacker's got to do something here. Find a of 1 mind and get the chain rolling. Because I am kind of out of gas. Use the ability. Infiltrator, or Intruder. Brian Barrow Intruder. Not what I was looking for. I can snap one of my Spellstutters to counter another spell that costs 4 or less. They are currently out of Dredgers. They do have another Knot of the Bone. They're out of Dread Returns. There's no Trawler or Scrapwork Mutts in there. The Stinkweed Imp, the Intruder, will keep me pushing through that. And I'm on just the I'm not countering any Knot of the Bones strat here, unless I have Lethal on board and the game is over. Oh, Dread Return from hand. I don't like that. It's not my Spellstutter. Okay, they do need 2 more creatures in play before that's a problem, but their deck is built to do that. Come on, of 1 mind, Ninja the Deep Hours, something good. Counterspell, I'll take that. Find the Monster versus Brian Barrow Intruder is interesting. Okay, I'm just going to attack. They are most likely to block the Moon Circuit Hacker, which is actually a combat win. And if they block anything else, we'll just touch butts and play another turn. Okay, I get to save my Bind the Monster. Even though binding a Stinkweed Imp has its own value because it's not in the graveyard. But with that Dread Return in the graveyard, I think that's okay to make them down a creature. And I was worried about decking myself before I deal 60 damage. They have to be worried about decking themselves before they, deck themselves. They're a dredge deck. They are at the point where they could just cast Generous Ents and Troll of Khazad-dûms, though. One more mana, they can cast Lotleth Giant. They did mill over a Mutt and another Dread Return this turn. There comes the Mutt. They dredged a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. Or no, they hadn't dredged yet. Knot of the Bone. There's another Knot of the Bone in there. Stinkweed Imp. I can bind that monster. Scrapwork Mutt from hand. Just playing that one. This does turn on Dread Return, but I have Counterspell. They just didn't use this. Interesting. So their card in hand is a good one, is what I've been told. If they attack, I will trade. Okay, they're going for a Lotleth Giant. Counterspell that. And I get another swing. Come on, Ninja the Deep Hours. The best card in my deck, my favorite card in Pauper. Can we draw it? Nope. Moon Circuit Hacker, loot this into a good card, please. Come on, Counterspell. Something. Oh no. Well, the shields are down for the first time. And I am going to hold this island in my hand for future looting. They have Scrapwork Mutt. That is one creature guaranteed for Dread Return. If they dredge up a Stinkweed Imp, they could cast that. That's 2. It would not take much to just put 3 creatures into play here and kill me. I'm honestly totally on board if they want to just cast a Generous Ent from hand. Okay, Troll of Khazad-dûm, same shit. That is something they can sack to Dread Return even if it's tapped. I am going to need to come up with a counterspell this turn. Snap! Okay, that's a counterspell. I can snap my Spellstutter. I'll bind this monster. Go to 8. I'm at 8. In with the team. I held back this island for Moon Circuit Hacker to loot away. Fairy Seer. Okay. That is not the worst card I could have found. It is a fairy. And it has some amount of card selection attached to it. Show me a ninja. Yes! Alright. Island to the bottom. Ninja the Deep Hours on top. Alright, opponent, don't kill me this turn. Yeah, Dredge Stinkweed and cast it. Unearth. Scrapwork Mutt is 3 creatures. If that is how they want to reach 3 creatures. Sideboard Bind the monster, finally kicking it on turn 10 of the game. There's the Mutt. There's 1. Discarded Ancient Grudge. And then dredged. There's the 4th Dread Return, so we are on the full boat of those. That would have been a lot scarier from hand. Stinkweed Imp, terrifying. If they attack, I'll trade and keep them off 3 creatures, so they can't really afford to do that here. If they plan on casting Dread Return. Okay, I lose to a removal spell or any sort of counterplay. Okay, the snap resolved. Is the Spellstutter going to work? Straight up stun. Okay. And they cannot cast Knot of the Bone this turn. They've tapped too low. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage available. But I get to do the most important thing, which is pick up Spellstutter Sprite and draw a card. Attack with all my creatures. No blocks. Ninja. I could ninja the other ninja and then ninja that in and draw 2 cards straight up, but I think drawing a card and looting a card while leaving up 2 mana is more important. Make sure I draw with Ninja the Deep Hours first, and then the loot happens second. Loot. Oh, okay. Second Ninja the Deep Hours going to the graveyard should scare the shit out of my opponent. Ah, they've had enough! Let's go! Okay. I respect not having any graveyard hate. Who needs it? And I also understand that we can pretty easily beat a Knot of the Bone for 26 life. Those are the important lessons to take away. Understand how this deck works, how much we need to fear it, and what the must counters are, because it's not Knot of the Bone. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, MagicCon, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. I am going to keep this hand. It does not have a 1-drop, which I would like, but it does have the engine cards and the mana to cast them if we make it to turn 2 and beyond without being too far under the gun. Want to mull to 5 again. Island. Mulling to 5 with an island is very different than mulling to 5 with a swamp or forest. Okay, that was not the Fairy Miscreant I was hoping to draw, or the Fairy Seer. Okay, it's a mirror match, and they are going to ninja me and try to just go with that. All right. Them being down 3 cards, they were on the draw, or they were on the play, and they mulled to 5 is a big deal. And they didn't ninja me there. That's a huge deal as well. Okay. Let's see where this goes. This is a spot where I'm going to have to just take some damage and build up my resources. I don't think flashing in the Spellstutter into their open mana makes sense. Ooh, the Miscreant. That could be pretty bad. Versus a Spellstutter. I could snap their Spellstutter and still have open mana. I could counterspell. All right. I really hate the idea of this getting Spellstuttered, but I do have multiple avenues of counterplay for that if it happens. Okay, just actual counterspell. I could counterspell them back. They clearly don't have a ninja here. Yeah, I'm going to use that. And this is like the weird little jockey point setup that is pretty important here. Fairy Seer, now they have a blocker. Yeah, we just can't counter the really important things in this matchup, which are the ninjutsu effects. Ooh-wee. Speaking of. Okay, there's a ninjutsu effect. And casting up 1 mine before I can untap and counter it. Opponent knows what's going on over there. Okay. I'm going to snap their Fairy Seer. And I want to do some ninjaing of my own. Again, just trying to do stuff while they're tapped out. Draw a card. It's another hacker. Replay Miscreant. Now I can Spellstutter Sprite a 2-drop. And I know they're holding 2 1-drops. I will block the hacker if it's available. If my blocker's still there when we get to combat. With this many hackers in my hand, if this Miscreant's gone next turn, I might just be ninjaing hackers into hackers to draw cards for 1 mana rather than having to loot for 0 mana. Okay, we know they have the Brine Barrow shitter, which Spellstarter would have beat. Okay. Fairy Seer versus Brine Barrow. I'm going to stutter this. This is just a better card because it flies. We got snapped. All right. At some point, one of us is going to break through this and be miles ahead. And this little ticky-tack stuff at the beginning of the game is going to matter a lot less. But right now, it's just about trying to stop the other person from ripping through. Okay. That's a big deal. Okay. Island. If I attack, they lose their creature. Attack. Just a block. That's fine. And here I'll just play another hacker. The secret mode of ninjutsu. Just spending the mana to have the creature. They didn't flash anything in the end step. They're at 4 mana now, which could be a hard cast ninja, but it's not. Ooh, that's a real ninja. Attack. Switch it out for this ninja. Draw a card. This is a lot of ninjas now. Okay, I'm going to pass. I just know they're holding 1-drops that matter. I'd love to get this up 1 mine on the stack, but I'm not going to do it in a way that's sloppy. If I have Ninja the Deep Hours, this is something they have to respond to and interact with. They can't just let this hit them every turn. Drawing an island's good. Just having enough mana to do the things that my hand is capable of doing. Okay. I think I want to Spellstutter this, even though we have been playing long enough and they've known about the Spellstutter long enough. Or are they going to double stutter me? It's powerful. Okay. That was a really good exchange for them. They also get to kill my ninja for free. Wait, what? Where'd this intruder go? Did they counter their own spell by accident? Oh, that's fucking weird. That must have been a misclick. I mean, sorry, opponent, but we're here now. Yeah, that's awkward. Of 1 mind. So we're both at 43 cards in our deck right now, which means that they've fully dug out of their mulligan and have caught up to me on cards. And my Brine Barrow Intruder hopefully will save one of my ninjas this turn. I am going to hold back that island this time, because one of these might end up looting a Brine Barrow and me without a counterspell. They better triple block this thing or I'm going to save it. Okay, that was a good triple block. I'll save the other one then. Okay, they got rid of the good ninja. I'm going to spend the hard way on Of One Mind. Fairy Seer. Flux Counterspell. Are these actually good cards anymore? And Counterspell could be useful. I don't think Flux is good. Bottom top. And I'm going to play out another hacker. I'm just hacker flooded. Let's get creatures on the board. Opponent's hellbent. Okay, no attacks, no plays. That's what I want when I'm drawing Counterspell. I have 4 attackers, which means one of these ninjas is going to work. Okay, block, block, block. They're just blocking all my best creatures. And the one that gets through, trade off their whole board for half of my board. Of One Mind, which now costs 1 thanks to Fairy Seer. And this is where their multi-5 gets them. We had a really good back and forth, but now I've hit more lands than them, and this combat where I'm just like 1 or 2 cards ahead is everything. And now these 1 or 2 cards are going to convert into an unstoppable stream of cards. Okay. The mirror match. Fun. This one is important to know about. A Cogwork Wrestler. When it enters, this is just the intruder, but it's not a human. This was a big deal in all of the jockeying that round. Spell Pierce is good early, but as we saw, we both had 6+ lands in play by the end of that game. I don't think I like Spell Pierce more than I like the Wrestler. Binding monsters. Binding, they could snap their own ninjas to pick them up, but then they're not snapping my stuff. And binding a ninja the deep hours is a huge deal. Essence Flux can free things from Bind the Monster. If my opponent brings that in, it doubles Fairy Miscreant, or Fairy Miscreant or Spellstutter, which are both pretty important. It can free up a blocker. There's no spirits in the deck. If it's a spirit, put a +1 counter on it. That's flavor text. This is just Cloudshift. Is that what the card is called? The Ephemerate without rebound. A minus Spell Pierce plus Wrestler. Essence Flux versus Bind the Monster. I think I actually do like Bind the Monster, especially on the draw, because they're going to have the first chance to whip a ninja at me. And I do need to lock that down so it doesn't steamroll. I will not be keeping this hand. I will be keeping this hand. Show you who the ninja player is. Fairy Miscreant. Miscreants all around. Do they have the second one? Moment of Truth. I have to block if they attack. That's just how this matchup works. If they have the intruder or the gnome, it's bad. Okay. No ninjas. I got a Spellstutter. They're hitting land drops. Oh, that guy's really good. Okay, that is a card I can play that I don't care too much if it doesn't work, but it does let me curve up a ninja. Miscreant, Spellstutter, any 1-drop. They can't double here. Yeah, it had to be Counterspell. That's fine. Getting a Counterspell out works, and then this is where I force the action, and this having 2 toughness just busted. Attack. You have to lose your creature here. Wow, okay. They decided not to lose the creature here. If I don't have a ninja, it looks pretty smart to let that happen, but I do have a ninja, so it looked pretty bad. All these creatures are human, so Of One Mind's got to chill. I have the intruder. I can snap a ninja if it comes down. If they have their own ninja that they would like to miscreant, then the no block makes sense. Okay, wow, I'm just in Ninja Town. This is where I live. Ninja. Draw a card. This is like resolving Jace the Mind Sculptor in Legacy Blue Mirrors. It's so busted. Okay, am I willing to use Snap to beat a Spellstutter Sprite here? I think that I am. I'm going to play Fairy Seer and try to turn on Of One Mind. Okay, Snap. Oh, this doesn't even beat this. I don't know what I'm talking about. They have a different fairy. Okay, that was just messy. But it does let me resolve this Moon Circuit Hacker. Okay. Yeah, I didn't do great. I should have actually played Moon Circuit Hacker first to resolve the fairy. The 1/1 flying blocker and the Of One Mind, I think, is better than having this 2/1 in play. At least I noticed my spell doesn't get countered before it was too late. Okay, I have 2 Brine Barrows. They know about one of them. They don't know about the Snap. I'm just going to send the squad and see how they want to interact here. You've got a Brine Barrow. Shrinking that thing. Block, block, block. Okay. Here's the one you know about. Spellstutter. Okay. How do I best win this combat? Okay, Spellstutter's going to happen. And then the other Brine Barrow. I would like to keep my Ninja of the Deep Hours in play. And I think I'm going to snap my Moon Circuit Hacker, which is card disadvantage, but it does at least keep it around. And I can currently just tap out for a hard cast of One Mind. Okay, they're ahead on onboard resources. I have the best creature in play. We have the same number of cards in hand. One Spellstutter attacking. They haven't had a ninja yet this game. Now they do. Okay. All right. Now it's a problem. And we know that Spellstutter's over there. Ooh. I only have one fairy. Yeah, my fairy count's messed up. Just that sequence earlier where I didn't get this Fairy Seer. It slowed down this of One Mind, and now it's stopping me from Spellstuttering them. It's bad news all around. Okay. Do I want to just cast this Hacker, let them counter it, flush that out? I think I kind of do. Okay. They correctly assessed that that's not the fight. Of One Mind. Horrible. Now I'm falling way behind. I will trade my Hacker for their Ninja of the Deep Hours if it comes in. It was part of the appeal of playing it. Different flyers attacking now. Okay. No blocks. Another Intruder. Got a lot of those now. Yeah, I am behind, but I don't want to take a risk here. If I can get a second fairy into play somehow, then I'll feel more confident attacking. But that's Spellstutter, knowing that the first Brine Barrow is not going to work. Top, bottom. Don't like that. 2 damage coming in. Another Hacker. Okay, let's see what kind of response this gets. It's in is the response that it gets. Yeah, still don't have an attack here. Of One Mind. Yeah, I would have kept that on top too. It's a good one. Fairy Seer. How do I even catch up to this? They have to make a mistake somewhere, because they are so far ahead of me right now. If they just keep taking their nickels and dimes, eventually draw a ninja, they're good. Very Miscreant. Okay, is this worth a Spellstutter? Okay, it's not. That means my Spellstutter works now, which is a huge deal. They have 5 cards in their hand. I think I have to send this Ninja of the Deep Hours in, but they don't even have to use their... Alright. I have to do something, because I'm losing. I'm going to attack, and the feeling where you have to do something because you're losing is how you lose Blue Mirrors, but it's what I got. Brine Barrow Intruder. Okay, I'm going to shrink your Brine Barrow Intruder. I'm going to kill Fairy Seer with this combat damage. Snap. Alright, snapping your Intruder. Sure. Yeah, they can replay Intruder and keep their Fairy Seer. Okay, that's literally the same as them not having anything, I guess. Except Brine Barrow is in their hand now. Okay, yeah, now that you don't have to order blockers anymore, that combat actually had interesting text to it that we wouldn't have had a moment ago. Okay, they're done attacking. We know they have a Brine Barrow and a Spellstutter in hand, but they don't know that I have those same cards. And I think all my ninjas should come in here. I'm just being a little pushy here, putting the fear in them. You get a Brine Barrow. I have one too. You have a Spellstutter. I have one too. Then I have an island after that, and you have 2 other cards. But among those 2 other cards, the best thing they could do last turn was snap their own creature. This mirror match actually has a ton of fascinating combat implications, just everything you have to think about. I like this a lot from a Magic the Gathering perspective. There's a lot of opportunities to skill diff an opponent in the mirror. If they just like quadruple block this thing, that's pretty good, but that's why I attacked with the other ninjas. Okay, Intruder. Here's your Spellstutter. Here's my Spellstutter. What are the other 3 cards in your hand? All right, I'm dead. Okay, fell behind on that one. On the draw. Find the monster number 3. Do I want that in? I don't think so. I'm on the play now. I want creatures to attack with. I don't think I can keep a 1-lander. Or, no, I have Hacker and... Alright, I'm going to keep this 1-lander. If I don't find a second land or don't get a clear shot with my Hacker on turn 1, this is going to get bad. But I do have a 1-drop evasive creature, a Bind the Monster, a Hacker, And if they play a 1-drop flying blocker, I can win the combat with Intruder. Okay, come on, deck. Land in the top 2 cards right now. That's what we need. Yeah, easy game. Okay. I am actually going to put in Moon Circuit Hacker here because the ninjas are based on combat damage. And if they have a Brine Barrow, I can ninja again, like so. Zoop. I don't even know if that's better than just replaying my card, but I feel good about it. They did board in their wrestlers. Did they also keep a 1-lander? Okay. We're just ticky-tack ninja crapping each other. They do have the 2nd land. Okay, I do have a counter spell and extra mana, both of which are reasonable things to have here. It feels so crazy to counterspell a Cogwork Wrestler, but I think that is what I'm supposed to do. Oh, they didn't block. All right, yeah, let's just go to damage then. All right, I'll just loot. Sick. Land number 4, I like all these cards. I wish I could just draw a card, but that's cheating. Okay, I think I'm going to bind their monster this turn, and I just have to decide what I don't need. I think this 2nd Hacker is the card that does the least for me right now. Yeah, bind this monster. That's just something they invested in that they no longer have. It was worth a card on entry, but if I hold this counter spell and Brine Barrow and I hit my land drops, that's what I need to be doing here. We like snap. Okay, I expect to be Cogwork ambushed here. There's the wrestler. I will let them block and then I'll intrude their wrestler. And I'm prepared to counterspell a Spellstutter. Counterspell a counterspell, samesies. Okay, our things touch butts here, and then I replay the Miscreant. Now I have a flying attacker to get my ninja the Deep Hours active next turn. I have blockers. Okay, we had the similar sideboard strategy. Okay, now if they have a ninja, it's pretty good. I do have the snap, though. It is the small one. I like that less. And they hit their land drop. And now they have 5 cards in hand to my 3. No longer love my position. Ooh, I do love that, though. They could cast Counterspell. They can't Spellstutter. If I attack with the Miscreant and the Hacker... Okay, I'm just going to attack with Miscreant. No, Hacker should go too. All right. Miscreant and Hacker both coming in. Here is the Wrestler. And then they go to blocks. I think I'm going to snap my own Hacker. Just have that for later. And then Ninja of the Deep Hours, the Miscreant. Get the good Ninja going. It did connect, so they're out of Brine Barrow variants. I'd love a land here. Always love lands. Hacker, Miscreant, of one mind. Are your Spell Pierces still in? They are not. Okay, and I found another of one mind. Okay, we're doing stuff. I have caught up to them on resources. We have basically the exact same resources available. I am going to block here. This turns off of one mind, but taking a ninja out of the game is really important to me. Except that it didn't even do that. Okay. They've connected with their Deep Hours. And they've resolved their own of one mind. Oh wait, Gnome is not a human. Did I know that? I did know that. Okay, that's cool. Fairy Seer is not a human. Yeah, I'm going to attack with my ninja first. This will either just get blocked or get blocked and they flash in one of the minuses. Okay. And then I can use my minus to survive the combat. Intrude. Okay, those will touch butts. Second main, Fairy Seer into of one mind. Oh, land Spellstutter is the nuts. Top. Of one mind. Land, hold up Spellstutter, pass. They have more ninjas than me. They don't have any other fairies in play. I'm going to double block here. I'm just trying to clear this thing out of play. I got another one, which picks up another flash dummy. I'm going to try to Spellstutter this. They don't have 2 fairies to Spellstutter my stutter. Okay, that's countered. Is there more? Snapping my Fairy Seer. Okay. Killed my Brine Barrow. And they drew a card. This match has been awesome. They found another of one mind, where they're now officially all the way caught up. Yeah, I might have to just start blocking here. That one's pretty good. Okay. A Fairy Seer of my own. want to know what's going on before I commit to anything. Of One Mind and Snap. These cards are all very good. Okay, so if I snap Fairy Seer, top, snap your Fairy Seer, untap my lands, go to combat, attack with Spellstutter. I don't want to give them my Ninja the Deep Hours in a good trade. One of my 3 Moon Circuit Hackers is now in. I draw Of One Mind. That costs 1. And this is drawing Snap. The land's pretty good as well. I could snap my Brine Barrow Intruder right now, or I could wait till their turn. If I wait till their turn, counterspells become available. Yeah, I'm going to snap this Intruder right now. Okay. I now have a combat trick and a counterspell, both of which they know about. Of One Mind, Jesus. All right. They've resolved 3 Of One Minds. Very good. Fairy Seer. Now their Spellstutter works on my Spellstutter. Another Fairy Seer. I definitely feel like I've been outplayed in this match, and that's okay because I'm learning. Like, it's cool seeing someone else. Like, I don't know this person. I don't know if they're a Pauper expert. I don't know how much experience they have with the deck, but I have learned some of the tricks and how insane the Intruder variants actually are in the mirror matches. As long as you're learning, you're winning. Hey, do I want to trade Moon Circuit Hacker for a Cogwork Wrestler? Almost certainly not. Okay. I'm going to play this Moon Circuit Hacker from hand. I think just having material on the board matters here. I'm not going to play out this island because I know about these 2 cards already. I need some mystery so they can't just solve the combat with perfect information. Fairy Seers are attacking. Oh, I'm not going to block. Because if I block with Fairy Seer, then their Spellstutter beats my Spellstutter. I need at least 2 fairies in play for this game to make any sense. There's a fairy. Right, Miscreant. Get in there. Now I will block with Fairy Seer if their Seers attack again. Because Miscreant is higher value once it's in play than Fairy Seer. Because if I draw another one, I'm going off. This used to be controversial in the fairy builds. Like, people really were passionate whether Fairy Miscreant was worth a spot or not. And now it just seems like it's stock in all of these. I was pro Miscreant back in the day, by the way. I'm also up 1 minute on my clock. Just another measure that might matter here. We are both passing the turn quickly, realizing that the clock is a factor here. Their Fairy Seers are attacking, and their Miscreant is. I will block a Seer with a Seer. No, I'm going to block Miscreant with a Seer. That makes more sense for all the reasons I said. Something's happening. Okay. They've got a Wrestler. I've got an Intruder. But we both know these things. Okay. Our fairies are going to touch butts here. And this did just clear the way for a Ninja to connect. Disappointed. Okay. I am going to fall to 4 life, and they just hit another draw engine, and they get to replay this flying creature. They've got a lot of 2-power creatures in play at this point. They didn't replay their Seer. Makes me nervous. What do you need 6 mana for right now? Okay, I've got a Fairy Seer. Show me the goods. Of One Mind Moon Circuit Hacker. These are kind of the goods. Okay, I am going to go top with this. And pass the turn. I might not survive this turn, but here we go. They have 4 2-power creatures in play. If they're holding a counterspell, they're in great shape. I am concerned when playing these matches, both round 1 and this one. They're taking a lot of time. Like, this is going to be a long league. And if your opponent does not play quick enough in paper, you end up with a lot of draws in decks like this. And that is speaking from experience. Like the old Is It Fairies versus Tron matchup 5 or 6 years ago, it was right for the fairy deck to just basically never counter removal spells, save all of your counters for their big payoffs. And that took a long time to win with that chip damage, if that was the game plan, but that was correct to be the game plan. I had a lot of unintentional draws as the Tron player just huffs and puffs about whatever while I'm trying to play quickly. Here's my Of One Mind. This is, I'm going to send it. There's a hacker under there and then 1 unknown. Ooh, counterspell's good. We've got 1, 2, 3 flyers to there. 1, 2, 3 flyers. That's not enough. Okay, I'll add another hacker to the board just on the hard cast. And I can't play around Spell Pierce here anyway, so I will pass the turn with my 2 counter spells up. Oh, miscreant shit. All right, I'm going to Spellstutter this. I don't want this draw engine online, and this is going to break loose their Spellstutter and any counter spells they've been holding back. You've got a counterspell. I've got a counterspell. How many are left here? What are those last 2 cards in your hand? All my secrets revealed. Okay. Well, I am tapped out now. If they've been sitting on a snap or a pair of brine barrows to have a giant blowout combat, here they come. Okay. Time to figure this one out. My Moon Circuit hackers are all going to block. Ninja of the Deep Hours is. Ninja of the Deep Hours will block. One of the Cogwork shitters. Brine Barrow will touch butts with a Cogwork shitter. Trade with Moon Circuit hacker. Trade with Fairy Seer. Trade with Fairy Miscreant. Trade with Fairy Seer. I mean, they better have tricks because these blocks are really bad for them as they stand. They do have 1 intruder. Now they get to keep a Ninja of the Deep Hours. Is your other card also an intruder? Okay, the pair of intruders was the last thing that I had to be aware of and think about here. I keep 2 creatures. You kept all of your Ninja of the Deep Hours and 3 other creatures. This is bad news. I need of 1 mind into multiple hits now. And we're both 30 cards into our deck. We've seen the same number of cards this game. This matchup is so cool. Snare Master Sprite. Okay, well, you are not without use here. You can stun one of these Ninja of the Deep Hours and then be still in trouble, but less trouble. Oh, they're spending mana. That's bad. All right, Fairy Miscreant. Glad I took care of those. Or that would have been +2 cards already. And they're back into draw go of 1 mind. Spellstutter's not good here. They just don't need to cast spells anymore. Yeah, maybe at like 10 life I could figure this out, but the fact that every one of these 1 power shitters matters is bad news bears for our hero. Okay, I have to flash in Spellstutter just to not die, and if they have a Spellstutter of their own, or a ninja, I am dead. Okay. Block, 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 block. I go to 1, and I have 1/1/2 creature left in play, or 1/1/1 flying creature left in play. So what I need to do here is draw a ninja. The ninja has to draw of 1 mind, and then question mark profit. All right, that's not it. GG's. Those were really cool games. I learned a lot in that one. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play in round 3. I'm going to keep this hand because I'm on the play. I'd be worried about it on the draw. I would love to see my opponent just play a tap land, whether it's the Contaminated Sewer or the one of the Jund ones or whatever. Let me intrude here. That is how I find my next land most reliably. A forest. Okay, Utopia Sprawl. I think I played against this opponent in my Dimir Terror League the other day that you won't see for another week. I was on a very different deck at that point. I guess it wasn't that different, but it's pretty different. Okay, Hacker, draw the land. Hacker, draw the land. Hacker, draw the land. Uh-oh. Well, I'm in some trouble. Stress testing these 1-landers, even on the play, is something that I'm also doing here. Oh god, they have Stone Rain. Wow! Oh, okay, bad news. Right on time. Thanks for showing up. That Spell Pierce last turn would have been great. Okay. Looting. Yes. Alright, found all the lands. We're good. I'm going to put back... Spell Pierce is still good. Putting back... or discarding a Ninja of the Deep Hours is so crazy, but I think it is somehow the worst card in my hand. Okay, I'm going to discard a Ninja of the Deep Hours. I'm sure they're happy to see that go. And now if they play a land in another Stone Rain, I can't even Spell Pierce it. Play one of the 4 mana Stone Rains. That would be fine. Acid Moss. Writhing Chrysalis. I don't think this card is remotely beatable. Okay, we found a bad matchup. I definitely need to be up under them more than I am here. Please cast something I can Spell Pierce. Jewel Thief. Nope, that doesn't qualify. So if I had the second land, I Spell Pierce the Stone Rain, and then, or I'd probably just Spellstutter the Wild Growth, and then they're a whole turn behind on all of it. I'm going to put this Intruder into play because I'm not winning a combat anyway, and I would like to have some material with which to play the game and make decisions. All right, the lands are flowing now. Spellstutter counters a 1-drop. Okay. I'm pumping the brakes. 3/3 creatures, just 3 mana 3/3. Unfair at all. I feel like I'm playing Streets of New Capenna Limited again, where you see a Jewel Thief and you're like, come on, chill. Wanvuli, Acid Moss, that they can now pay for Spell Pierce around. Opponent knows what they're doing. Okay, to the sideboard we go. That was a bad matchup to keep a 1-lander against. Surprise, surprise. Okay, Hydroblast counters Spell Pierce, or counters Spell Pierce, counters Stone Rain, and it does not counter Chrysalis because Chrysalis is devoid, even though it takes red mana to cast it. I think I just want Bind the Monsters here. This deck has the Cascade Pirate at the top end and Avenging Hunter, the 5 mana Initiative Dragon. Counterspell's very important. Snaremaster Sprite's very important. Essence Flux doesn't seem very important here. Spell Pierce has early game implications if I can protect my early lands or hit their Utopia Sprawl. Maybe that puts them behind far enough. The Brine Barrow Intruder. Their creatures are all like 10/10s. What's this even doing? Okay. They do play Lightning Bolt. They might have sweepers. I probably should have some amount of Hydroblast in my deck. I think I'm just cutting more Intruders for that. Okay, I'll try this. I still have a bunch of 1-drop fairies to enable my ninjas. Oh no, this trick again. I'm not going to fall for it again. Come the fuck on. All right. Fairy Seer is enough. Of One Mind can be cast eventually. I think I have to bottom this Miscreant. And Fairy Seer, I get to look at 4 cards before I miss a land drop. Oh, ding ding. Top, 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 top. Keep them all. They didn't ramp. I'll take that. They're going to be excited that I don't have a ninja here. I'm just going to hold up my cards, and next turn, I can flash in Brine Barrow in the end step, and then cast Of One Mind and still be holding up Counterspell next turn. End step, Intruder. Draw land, Of One Mind. More Counterspells and lands. This won't last forever, but I am pushing damage. And they have a pretty slow start. I don't even know if I would counter a Stone Rain here. Yeah, resolves. I have lands. That's not my problem. My problem is Writhing Chrysalis. Okay. Attack. I probably have to counter the next Stone Rain. This Spellstutter is good for 2. There's not a lot of 2-drops in their deck, but if they play like a Utopia Sprawl or Wild Growth, I'll take it. Thermokarst. Alright, I will counterspell that one. How about a Ninja? Another Spellstutter. That does make letting that Stone Rain resolve earlier worse. But I still don't regret it quite yet. Cast a 2-drop. Cast a 2-drop. They could jam the Initiative Dope this turn. Chrysalis. Well, I have to counter that spell, because it cannot be defeated. Okay, I can beat a Pyroblast here. So if I had used Hydroblast on Stone Rain earlier, I could have Spellstuttered that Pyroblast now. I don't know, I don't think it's necessarily wrong. It's just currently not working out great. So many Spellstutters. Alright, gonna attack. They could cast whatever they want next turn. Just have possibly 8 mana. My Spellstutter can only counter at 2. I'm probably committed to casting a Spellstutter this turn no matter what. Whether it counters the spell or not. Need to start getting my fairy count up and pushing damage. If they have the Cascade homie, that's pretty scary. Maybe they'll cast Malevolent Rumble and I could counter that. That would be great. Okay, Avenging Hunter resolves. They do have enough mana left over to Pyroclasm, which I don't like. And they can tutor a basic here. Oh, they already played their land. Alright, so I don't have to worry about Chrysalis this turn. Yeah, if they have one of the instant speed Pyroclasms, I'm just dead. If they cast it now, it might be okay. Because I could flash in Spellstutter in the end step. Okay. That is fine. I don't like it. I have to race this Avenging Hunter now, but I at least do have a way to take the initiative, which will get my second land, or fourth land, which I now drew anyway. You're doing it wrong, deck. That's not how this is supposed to go. Okay, I'll take the initiative briefly. We are starting from a point where they're at 10 and I'm at 20. They search for the island, play the island. I can now counter 3 drops. This feels completely hopeless, I'm going to be honest. But, I mean, if they have any spells, this is hopeless. If I draw, like, Snap or Bind the Monster, that's what I need to do here. And Bind the Monster would put me to 8. But those are the sort of cards that I need right now. And they are just forging up their Hunter, trying to get the game over. I respect that. I'm going to play Spellstutter in the end step, one of them, because I do need to be pushing damage wherever I can find it. If they Pyroclasm in between these Spellstutters, that would be really good for them. But if they do it in the end step, now I have it beat. But a Lightning Bolt or Pyroblast, break it all open. They're casting me into the fire. Last card in hand, is it a relevant interactive spell? This is the most important in the game moment in the game so far. Oh god, they're casting a spell. They had multiple sweepers left over? Okay. I'm very dead. Yeah, that was just the 2 best cards I could ever have. Even drawing Bind the Monster now, I probably just died of the initiative and very dead. Okay. That matchup felt bad, and I don't like it. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. I'm on the play for round 4. I'm going to keep my hand. Doesn't have a ninja in it yet, but I get a bunch of looks at one. I do not need lands for the first time in a while. I'll take a Spellstutter. On the play, Spellstutter is pretty good. A Plains and a Novice Inspector. Okay, Spellstutter is going to find a target for sure, if they decide to give me one. Let's figure out if this is like a Boros Bounce deck or a White Weenie deck. Yeah, if they just don't want to play into Spellstutter, we can chip back and forth. That's fine. My hand also has Counterspell if they just play a 3-drop next turn. Like if we're both dealing 1 damage to each other, I went first. That favors me. Okay. I'll counter literally anything with Spellstutter. I'm not going to wait for a 2-drop. Take that thing out. This is a deck with Battle Screech in it. Rafine's Informant, that's fine. This Connives. Dumped a Battle Screech, tight. I can Spell Pierce that in the future. Maybe. It didn't attack. Okay, their creatures do not have reach. I drew a Ninja. Best thing I can do. I'm going to pick up Spellstutter and hope I spike a land off this draw. That just does it all. Ooh, didn't do it all. Do I want to hold up Spell Pierce, or do I want to, of one mind, try to hit a land? I'm going to try to hit my land. Okay. Yeah, them screeching here is something I'm going to have to work through. Oh god, are they casting one from hand? Are they about to bury me in screeches? Alright, it's Militia Bugler. This can put a creature with power 2 or less into your hand from your top 4 cards. They found a Skyfisher. They found the Unicorn. The Unicorn's unbeatable. And they can screech. All right. Missing that land was a mistake, and then trying to dig. I don't regret. Okay, so if I just have Spell Pierce, life is better. But obviously I don't. I think I'm going to snap the Bugler. I know it's card advantage immediately, but... or a card advantage in the long term, but I need to do stuff immediately. If they want to block, that's fine. I'd love a double block. Didn't get it. Okay, I have the Brine Barrow Intruder and Spellstutter. Okay. If they just activate this Unicorn for the rest of the game and never cast a spell, they probably just win easily. Cycled Eagles of the North. And this is where I would much rather be a red or black variant of these blue counterspell decks. Is Tutored Idyllic Grange. Battle Screech. Well, I could Spell Pierce that. All right, Spell Pierce it now, and then counterspell it on the way back down. Or if they want to attack, I could just do some Brine Barrow stuff and maybe actually kill a creature. That attack is so smart. Okay. They attacked with enough creatures that they don't have to do that. I'm going to flash in Spellstutter. I have the Essence Flux for the efficiency. Okay. A 2/3 creature. How can I beat a 2/3 creature? I guess Snare Master is the answer. That costs 3 mana. I don't think I'm going to beat another Battle Screech. Okay, I think I'm just going to pass here. Hate that, but it's what we got. We know there's a core Skyfisher still in their hand. You can pick up the Idyllic Grange and keep making the creatures bigger. Skyfisher, I guess this is where I cast my Flux. Ka-chow. I don't think this deck has instant speed removal. I sure hope not. They play, like, Journey to Nowhere. That's countered. Surely I don't have any more counter spells. It is safe to cast spells now. And I'm not fighting over Bugler. That doesn't fly. And they missed. Look at the bottom 4 cards of your deck. The classic Pauper experience. This turn, there's no good chip shots for them either. Okay, now I can tap Bird token and get in with my flyers. This race doesn't favor me, but I at least have enough mana up to still counterspell. I tap this bird. Flyers get in. This has vigilance. Don't like that. Not interacting with that card. I'm just so worried about the Battle Screech with this unicorn. Or Farnicorn. Alright. I don't think I'm beating this card either, so have your Battle Screech. You did it. You played around it. Screeched. Triple Brine Barrow. Okay, I don't think this is going to beat a Unicorn Anthemed team, but I might get some trades. I don't know. Some wins, some eats. Not even done casting spells. Okay. I can block here and use one of my Brine Barrows to shrink this. And then they'll probably use their Unicorn to buff it. Then I'll use the other Brine Barrow to shrink it again. Oh, fuck. I needed to double block. Toughness. +1/+1. I just don't know how cards work. Oh, they didn't do it. That's better. Okay. Well, I lucked out there. The 4th Brine Barrow. If this card's ever going to be good, now is the time for it to show itself. Okay, they can only buff on their turn. My flying creatures got to get in. They're at 13. I'm not winning this game where I don't attack. That is just true. Blocking with everything out of respect for a ninja. There is like some 4 mana buff your squad card that would win the game for them here. Prismatic Strands also very good. Okay. I can't beat Prismatic Strands. Alrighty. To the sideboard. Again, like nothing really for this matchup here. I could bind some monsters, but this is where having the Suffocating Fumes or the Breath Weapon out of a Splash Color deck would be so meaningful. We had 2 really good feeling, interesting games in the first 2 rounds of this league, and then I got shit-clowned by a Gruul deck, and now I'm getting shit-clowned by a white deck, and my sideboard just doesn't do anything. You can, of course, rebuild your sideboard to prioritize different things, but this feels really bad. Okay, I don't think Essence Flux is what I want. Find the Monsters, good. Snap's good. Spell Pierce, if I choose to line it up, would... I mean, I did just miss a land drop that game where if I hit the land drop, I Spell Pierce the Battle Screech, and then the game is completely different. But if the game gets out of your hands, you're in a lot of trouble. I'm going to cut up Brine Barrow Intruder as well. Their creatures are just so much bigger than mine that it barely matters. Okay, I'll keep this hand. It's slow, but it works. We'll probably see one of their 8 Thraben Inspectors here. Oh, just turn 1 Unicorn. Get that in where they know I can't kill it. And binding it doesn't matter. Fearless attack. End step, Spellstutter. Just have to be on board. Attack. I'm gonna ninja. They can't do the thing they'd like to do, the Battle Screech, this turn. I can spell Pierce Interaction or the Journey to Nowhere on their turn. Bugler, that is bigger than my creature. Found Thraben Inspector. Very Miscreant, we love that. Just need some flying creatures to make a game out of this. Now that the board is completely gummed up by a singular 2/3. I have 3 Bind the Monsters in my deck. I'm mostly goofing, but yep. Someone asked if this is going on YouTube. It's all going on YouTube. If you ever play against me, I promise. Okay, I am going to Spellstutter this. If they follow up with a Core Skyfisher, that sinks a little bit. Lunarch Veteran, this disturbs into a flying creature. I'm glad that wasn't a Skyfisher. I actually should have let Thraben Inspector resolve. They got one anyway. Okay, so that didn't go too poorly in terms of how badly it could have gone across the scope of existence. Idyllic Range. Their creatures are already so big. I can't beat a 2/3. Yo, Miscreant. Show me that mischief. Snap. I don't really want to snap any of their creatures ever. I think I am going to Moon Circuit hack this Spellstutter back to my hand. This puts a creature with reasonable power on the board, leaves Counterspell up. I hit a land drop, that helps. Miscreant should have attacked there too. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was focused on the ninja. I just missed a damage. If that cost me the game, then that's bad. Okay, so another Soul Warden. This is like shit I gotta work through. But it is shit I can attack through. Okay, they're passing the turn to me. More Miscreants. Okay, I'm going to attack with my Miscreants. I'm actually going to snap my Moon Circuit Hacker and just draw a million cards this turn. Okay, after blocks, hacking off one of the Miscreants. Combat draws a card, Miscreant draws a card. They draw a card off their clue. Everyone's drawing cards. It's fun to be part of a club. A card drawing club. There's one of the intruders that's still on the deck. Fairy Seer. I'll take it. Flying damage. Island of One Mind. Top. Okay, pass. And if they just start activating this unicorn and ramming, the game will end pretty quick. Okay. That did not occur. Does this deck play any instants I care about? I don't know. I'm going to play Spellstutter just because it's more flying damage and I'm trying to clock them. I would not do that against the deck that's showing me black or red mana, for the record. Of One Mind. Bind the monster. Unfortunately, they have multiple monsters. The 2/3s are just too large. Though, Clearing Militia Bugler is reasonable. Okay. These flip into flyers, though. Yeah, I think I am just going to take that out as a combat object, but not give them an opportunity to block into a disturb situation. I'm not down with the sickness. Something's happening. Prismatic Strands. Spell Pierce, no good here. Spellstutter is fine here. If I can flush out both halves of a Strands in one combat with them still at 15, that's fine. Strands as Fog is like annoying and tempo-y, but Strands as Plague Wind, like if they attack and I line up some blocks and use my Brine Barrow and stuff, like that becomes a massive concern for me. And I lose a bunch of creatures and they don't. Okay, they just cycled Eagles for another Idyllic Range. So they have Idyllic Range and 2 unknowns in their hand. Battle Screech. Well, sat on Counterspell this long. They do get to Screech the back end, which will gain them a bunch of life. These Spell Pierces look so shitty. And if they Idyllic Range onto a bird, it's just, they can never get through a 2/2. They need a Snap or a Bind. And they have 5, 6, 7 mana. Their next land activates Unicorn twice in the same turn. Bind and Spellstutter. Okay. I don't think Spellstutter helps anymore. Bind does get through their 2/2. If I attack with all my flyers now, I can at least Brine Barrow the 2/2. The 1/1 did get involved in combat. The 1/1 dies either way. This is literally the same, like whichever one I minus. I guess I should minus the bird that is smaller, though. I guess it doesn't matter. It's literally the same either way. Okay. A bird is dead. A Spellstutter lives. A pump spell would blow me out. Nothing changes. The unicorn, the way the unicorn works is really interesting. because you can activate it during combat, but activating it pre-combat gives you the vigilance buff. Okay, this monster has to be bound. And then my flying creatures have to get the game over. Okay, and for 5, we're doing stuff here. Like, if they just kind of flood out, and of course Skyfisher resets their Bugler, and okay, Bugler or Skyfisher resets their other Bugler. That's all bad, gaining life along the way. I would honestly feel completely fine if I had just like a lightning bolt or snuff out or something in my deck to kill this unicorn. I think the race is winnable here if their creatures don't all get +2/+2 in vigilance as soon as they find their next land. A bugle for bugle. It's getting worse, team. Okay. We've gone into unicorn zone. Oh wait, they're putting the unicorn into combat. I will trade with that for sure. And then, do I want this to become a flying creature? Not really, but I also don't want it to be in play. Okay. Trading off with that unicorn's a big deal. I just said I have no plan for that, and it was just given to me. These spell pierces look like shit. Okay. I'll play out an island and pass, and hope they just draw spells. Spells that can be pierced. Bugle. Only gains 1 life now. Novice Inspector also gains a life. It draws a card. Disturbing this thing first. Novice Inspector. Can I draw Of One Mind or Ninja of the Deep Hours that hits Of One Mind? These are the things I need in life. Their passive life gain has done a lot. I have to just go to 6 here. Come on, deck. Card draw. Ninja into Of One Mind into more cards. Not a land! How does this work? I attack for 5. They attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I lose. If I attack for 4, I can jump block 2 things. Oh, I miscounted. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, they are trading off the flying dope. That's good. And I'll continue making land drops because it is relevant. If I do draw the sequence that I'm looking for, which is just like Of One Mind into Of One Mind into Of One Mind, I just want lands to cast all the spells I draw. Skyfisher. That probably ends the game. It picks up Bugler, then they can bugle into something else, and now they have a blocker. Alright, I can't win this one anymore. GG's. That felt pretty miserable, actually. Like we were missing serious tools. Just a removal spell in the mono-blue colors is something I miss here. We've seen basically the best and the worst of this archetype. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round with a hand that is really slow. With only 18 lands in the deck and no cantrips, no Lorien revealed, I'm really dubious about ever taking a mulligan of a hand that has 2 or 3 lands in it to cast spells. I'm going to keep this even though I don't really like it. A Slagwoods Bridge. That's where your mom is from. Got him. Pass the turn. Twisted Landscape. Alright, deck. 18 lands. Just give me all of them. Once I draw all 18 lands over the next 13 turns, I will no longer have lands in my deck, and then I'm allowed to draw spells. They got a forest. This does look like the Gleezard combo. Cleansing Wildfire. That is not where I can put my interaction. I do need to start doing something here. They're just going to value me out. Okay. That is something. I could play End Step Spell Spreader, Ninja it in, and then have Counterspell up. But if they just have like Lightning Bolt, the whole plan falls apart. Ramping again. They won't have untapped red mana this turn. They will have it next turn. Refurbish Familiar. Well, that ruins my whole plan, so I'll counter it. A flying blocker. Okay, a Snare Master Sprite. I can just play this and get my fairy count up. I think I actually am going to do that. Just put it into play with no kicker. And pass. Yeah, I think if I just drew like a Brine Barrow or Fairy Miscreant instead of 2 lands on those first draws, maybe this game would look different, but you really don't want your opponent to be at a healthy 20 life with 8 lands in play. Okay, they're cutting that down. This is where Spellstutter comes in. Counter that. And Essence Flux could have a moment here. Snuff out. Got him! Essence Flux that. Getting fluxed by the new technology. Was not a common 3 days ago. We're in here. Cut down gets countered twice, and then Snuff out fizzles. That was a good exchange, but I am now tapped out against an opponent with 4 mana. Blood Fountain. Okay, they're down to 1 card in hand. The Spell Bomb is also a card, and the Blood is card selection. The Blood Fountain can get back Refurbished Familiar at some point in the future. They have a lot of cards invested in the board state. Ninja, pick up the Spellstutter. I can counter a Lightning Bolt here. Drew a Hacker. Okay, I mean, that's more damage and more cards in the future, which is what I need to be doing. They'll probably just cycle their Spell Bomb now. Oh, Eviscerator's Insight. Sack a thing, draw 2 cards. This is a 2-drop. All right, I am actually just going to counter this and make them top deck. I don't want to let their engine get online, and Spellstutter is not going to counter Game Enders. They can have Lizard and Glee in this hand. Lembas. Scry 1 and draw a card when this enters, and they can sack it to gain 3 life, and when it goes to your graveyard, it goes back in your deck. They went Scry to the bottom and ripped a Refurbished Familiar. Yuck. Discard this land. Luckily, I have way too many of those. You know what feels terrible? Snapping a Refurbished Familiar, but I'm about to do it. Okay, snap this. We gotta get the damage through. It has to happen. Untap my lands. Attack, pick up Spellstutter. If I draw a cheap fairy here, I could have 4 fairies for the familiar on the way back down. Give me that. Oh, okay. Give me that. Okay. Well, we're in there. I do have 4 fairies now, and I can just get myself Hellbent. They still have many cards invested in the battlefield if they choose to deploy them. I don't know what they're saving this Nile Spellbomb for. Maybe just Affinity. Okay. Yeah, Affinity or having a artifact in play are both reasons to hold on to that. But now they're falling behind. They're at 8 life. Okay, so it costs 1, 2, 3, 4 to Blood Fountain. Well, I'm casting this because I lose it even if this resolves. So even if they do have a removal spell to make my board worse, if they hit me with a Breath Weapon, now it's over. Okay, they cut down my Spy Master, Snare Master, my Stairmaster Sprite. Okay, they get to draw a card because I didn't have a card to discard. Cleansing Wildfire is another cantrip. They can sack this Lembas for 3 life whenever they need to. They can also Blood Fountain back both Refurbished Familiars next turn. Let's go! That's the best draw in the deck at all times forever. The second Ninja, that's a good draw too. Attack with everybody. They're going to block Ninja the Deep Hours. And I think I actually am going to do a double Ninja trick here, because them having Refurbished Familiars matters for me having extra cards in my hand, which means the Moon Circuit Hacker is better to reset. I have so much mana. Okay, it's Lembas time. That goes back in your deck. You go to 11. Then Familiar dies. I draw 2 actual cards. Island and Brine Barrow. Okay. I will pass the turn. The Blood Fountain and their land are the only 2 artifacts in play, so if they buy back these 2 familiars, they're not 1-drops anymore. Duress. Have a peek. There's no spells there. With them dead on board, I am not going to tap out of interaction for Breath Weapon unless I have to. That's the card I'm thinking about that they could reasonably have. A Blood Fountain getting back 2 familiars, can't interact with that. They could cast 1 of them here, and I cannot counter it. Yep, only 3 fairies. Discard the island, and Brine Barrow is lethal. They're at 5. Right in the barrow. This doesn't have lifelink, does it? No, good. Just the number of words on these cards is ridiculous. And they've done the math. Cool. Well, that was a nice little fun ticky-tack game. The Annuls finally finding homes here. Steel Sabotage is mostly the same as Annul, except it can answer things in play as well. Spell Pierce is good in the first 2 turns of the game. Like if I can pierce their setup cards, I could see that being really good going long. But I can also see the game going long and Spell Pierce being a blank versus an opponent who has a bunch of cantripping Rainbow Growths in their deck. The Intruder seems less good here. Having the Familiar, that is a card worth shrinking. I just don't know that I need 4. The Flux got them real good. We had an insane Flux moment there. I have to imagine any red deck is going to have some amount of breath weapons for me. Like, these are the things you gotta balance here. Yeah, I think I would rather fight the Familiars on the stack and the setup for the Familiar. Steel Sabotage is sick. You can bounce a bridge in response to a Rampant Growth, a Wildfire, and then their Wildfire fizzles and they're down a land. A Flux is good against spot removal. Okay, I'm going to try this and hope for the best. We also, I don't think we saw anything that either confirmed nor denied that they could be a Broodskill combo deck. All right, this is ugly, but like I said in game 1, any hand that can cast some spells I'm probably in for. They have an Artifact Bridge. Steel Sabotage off the top. Son of a biscuit. Okay. Okay, they didn't have an untapped land, so drawing Steel Sabotage is still alive here. I'm just going to play Hacker. My hand's not doing anything else. I would like to start looting these lands away. They don't have a Swamp for Snuff out yet. The Familiar costs 2 already. It's messed up. Okay, Wildfire. They do have a Swamp. Don't need a tutor one. This would be a big moment for them to not have a Lightning Bolt. Snuff out. Okay. They did what they needed to do there. Jeez, deck. Okay, of one mind. Do you have Pyroblast? Do you care? There's my Steel Sabotage. Now that they've already ramped. Okay, if they just cast some powerful card here, I'm probably dead. Like Writhing Chrysalis or whatever. 5 mana. Ooh. Nyxborn Hydra. Enters with X+1 counters on it. Reach Trample. And it also can bestow. Alright. Well, I could snap that thing's face off. But I think I can take some beasts from this for a little while and then figure it out. Maybe it doesn't even make sense to let them untap into Pyroblast. But I don't want to have to counter this on the way back down. Okay, here we go. Counter target artifact spell. We did it. We found a target. Dodged a 2-for-1. Yeah, I'm just going to take some beats for this for a while, and then I can snap it when I'm ready. My god. Of One Mind. Another hardcast of One Mind. A lot of interactive spells available to me now. I'm not going to snap this until I can protect it with Pyroblast, unless they do something to make this lethal. All right, cycling Twisted Landscape, that's where they are in this game. Writhing Chrysalis. That's a negative from me. Do they have the Pyroblast? Another big chunk from the Hydra. Hail Hydra. My god. Okay, I probably have to snap this somewhere around this turn. I would like to annul this. This is an enchantment. I think I'm going to go to 8. I'll just take the medicine here. Maybe I'll snap it in the end step. Yeah, I'm not going to go to 4. So I'll snap it in the end step where they have to spend a turn redeploying it. And then it's another turn again before they can attack with it. Yeah, that's back in their hand. They can bestow it and it comes back bigger. Oh my god, Fairy Seer. See the future. 2 lands to the bottom. Of One Mind, Snare Master. I don't think I want Snare Master. I'll always take Of One Mind. Deadly Dispute straight into Spellstutter, but I don't have it. And the necessity of keeping hands that have lands in them versus the necessity of curving out to feel good is a tough balance for this deck. Eviscerator's Insight, yeah, you can eviscerate. Lembas. Yeah, my job here is clear, which is get to stability, draw cards, inflict damage. And nothing they did this turn stops me from doing any of that. Cleansing Wildfire, also fine. Yeah, they just, rather than redeploy their Hydra into open mana, they just set up a giant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They drew 6 cards this turn. Okay, well, I'm going to Of One Mind and hope that there is a ninja or some other card advantage engine in my cards that I get to look at here. Snuff out in response. Well, yeah, that works. I'm not spending counterspell on that. Okay, I did draw a ninja, so it was a good snuff out. And I'm gonna pass. I would actually like to ninjutsu this ninja and go plus cards rather than loot. Cycling Twisted Landscape. If that's the best thing they could do with their mana, I'm pretty hyped. 5 mana. Is this a flashback Eviscerator's Insight? No, it's a Hydra with some mana left over. So I expect a fight here, some Pyroblasts, perhaps. Okay, we didn't get that. Another stuff out. All right, yeah, they're on the correct level of respecting the ninjas here. And we now have the same life total, all of a sudden. 3 snuff outs later. Ugh. Okay, well, have to play the hacker now. And these Hydroblast have yet to find a worthwhile target. It's so corny that Writhing Chrysalis is not a red card. Devoid. Stupid mechanic. Eldrazi are all stupid. Everything's stupid. Another Cleansing Wildfire. Not going to Hydroblast it. Another Cycled Twisted Landscape. I think in my Pauper career I've seen that cycled 0 times, and in this game it's happened 3 times. Obviously, like, if you just play a lot of Pauper. I'm just saying, I haven't played a lot since MH3 to see this, and it's happened quite a bit. I think their hand is just air at this point, or they would have done something. They have so much mana, they drew so many cards. Hacker, get in there. Moment of truth. Even, like, interacting with the hacker, they probably should have done before I untapped and drew for turn, so I think they don't have anything here. Wow. Okay. Hack, 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 hack. Alright. I have the softest interaction imaginable. However, I do have a hand with 4 spells in it versus an opponent who does not seem to have any spells in their hand. Sacking the Lembus. Going back to 9 life. That bread will feed you forever. Magical elf bread. A tapped land. The 4th Twisted Landscape cycle. The value. Alright. Guess I'll discard one of my Hydroblasts here. I probably have to snap my way through this Refurbished Familiar, which feels awful, but it's what we got. A null. Okay. I have an answer to Refurbished Familiar now. And is being spent. Am I going to have to snap my ninja here too? Or if they flash back Eviscerator's Insight and just sack the Familiar? Okay, that's fine. I just needed it gone. And whether it's in your graveyard and you draw 2 cards, or you replay it next turn and go up 2 cards, it plays either way for me. Hacker, go. Hack them up. Gene Hackman. Hacksaw Ridge. Straight up hacking it. Spellstutter Sprite for 1. It is literally a creature. I think I have to prioritize that. Writhing Chrysalis beats me if I discard Snap. Breath Weapon beats me if I discard Hydroblast. Refurbished Familiar beats me if I discard Null. Somehow I think Spellstutter Sprite is the correct discard here. Just this bevy of soft answers. They each cover a different potential gap. Play to tap Slagwood Bridge. Bunch of mana in the pool. Cycling a 5th Twisted Landscape. Well, there's the Chrysalis that I'm still going to lose to, but at least I kept the snap to not lose immediately. Hydroblast is a tricky one too. Destroy target permanent if it's red. This is the one you are allowed to cast on Chrysalis. It just won't do anything. Alright, I'm actually just gonna... I would like to concede this game, but I guess I can't yet. I'm not going to attack, I'm not going to snap, because they have the extra blockers back. There's 1 of 1 mine left in my deck. If I could bind this monster, that might buy me some time to connect. If they get hyper aggressive and like sack all their spawns to try to deal damage, the snap could be useful. I'm fairly confident this is not Gleesard combo at this point, because we've been like halfway through the deck twice without seeing a single Sadistic Glee or Brood Scale. It's just Jund Affinity. Okay, they're sacking their dopes. Breath Weapon. Well, I've held this Hydroblast for the entire game. If they attack, I will not block and I will not snap. I'm just going to attack back. Blood Fountain, annul that. That's worth like 85 cards. 2 cards left in your hand. Are they good? You want to race? Okay. I'm going to 4. I can't cast Bind the Monster anymore because I'm at 4. And that would kill me. So I do have to snap my way through this thing. Snap and tempo. This one does have Secret Reach. It is both the 3rd line of rules text on this card, and also you can't read this card. These are the Deep Hours, okay. That upgrades my situation here. Attack. No block. No block. No play. If they have bolt right now, it's good. Okay, they didn't bolt. I'm going to ninja the different ninja in. Now I'm removal proof because I can just ninja again in response. Oh, mana's in the pool. Please cast this down. Cut it down. Whatever. What do we got? Snuff out. Okay. Someone's about to learn an important lesson about ninja timing. They should have done that before attacks or in attacks after combat. And now this is the same as drawing one card. I'm going to do it. If I draw some 1/1 that can chump block, that would be great. I mean, the extra land isn't the worst because I could chump with Deep Hours and then get another hit with Moon Circuit. Like, I just can't snap this unless they leave it back on defense. Whoa, they scooped? No way, come on. Just gave up on that one. I guess that was a shame concede to the snuff out, but I mean, you were still doing fine, opponent. Okay. A 2-3 result, which is not really encouraging. We saw the strength and weakness of this deck. I also probably, if I'm going to do this, would have to talk to some people or consume some content from an expert because, like, those 1-land hands happened a lot with only 8 lands in your deck and no way to manipulate your draws other than raw card advantage through ninjas or of one mind. No Ponder, no Brainstorm, no Preordain, all of which are legal in Pauper. We're just giving up on that. When you do curve out, it feels insane. When you don't curve out, it feels pretty clunky. The mirror match was immensely satisfying. When people are just spending 4 mana on cards that Spellstutter Sprite can't get, or they play like a single 2/3 creature where Moon Circuit, Hacker, and Ninja the Deep Hours can't attack through it anymore, that starts to feel pretty bad. In my currently limited experience in the present Pauper format, I think I like the Terror decks better than this deck, though this deck is, by the numbers, seeing more play and seeing more winning. There is definitely more to explore here. I will probably be playing Pauper once a week until MagicCon Chicago, so probably like 3 or 4 Pauper videos out of this series, and I'll just play 4 different blue decks. Pauper Tuesdays in February. That's a new theme. Everybody, thanks for watching. Come say hi to me at MagicCon Chicago if you're going to be there. There are still tickets left if you haven't signed up yet. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.